Hello humans, Master Dinnerflex here, bringing you the low quality content you deserve, and today we are going to be going over a new card that, I don't know how to describe it. So, when I saw this card, two big things caught my attention, which will be a little different than the two things that catch other people's attention. But when it comes to like a lot of random combo decks that this game has seen, there is a certain type of extender that is so consistently sought after, and I would like to call these extenders Apprentice Illusion Magicians, aka Dark Magician Girl effect monsters, because it started with Apprentice Illusion, because originally it actually started with the Tricky. Back in Dark Synchro, one extender that Dark Synchro really liked was like Tricky and a few other monsters like it, simply because it special summoned itself by discarding a card. And that, while it doesn't sound very powerful, in practice it is a very powerful effect. And Apprentice Illusion was like the first step in the series of cards that I'm going to be talking about, because it, again, kind of -1 to just special summon itself, but the card you put in graveyard with it was more valuable than it being a normal play. So every time we get like Illusionist Apprentice or things like that, level 6 Trickies basically, they are always randomly sought after by very specific decks. However, this would already have gotten my attention with this one because it is better than all of the ones we've currently had. But then in addition, this card as an engine is already good on its own merit. And we are about to show off why. So for this combo, all you need is Dark Magician Girl, the Magician's Apprentice, blah, 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 and a card to discard. So we'll discard WoW Warrior, but what we're actually going to discard, to kind of prove my point of what I was saying with the Tricky, we are going to discard the very worst card to draw with the Fiendsmith engine, unless you're okay with like normal summoning it and not playing other parts of your deck. So we will discard that, special summon it. This will special summon itself. Apprentice Illusion on normal or special summon will search a Shining Sarcophagus. And we will go ahead and activate it. Then we will activate Shining Sarcophagus effect, which will allow us to search any card, I believe, that just mentions Shining Sarcophagus. So we will go for Archfiend's Advent, Summon Skull Mark II. Now, we can normal summon without tributing Archfiend's Advent, because that's its effect while you control Shining Sarcophagus, but we'll go into this card's effect later. But for right now, we will go ahead and link this off into Requiem, which you already know the drill here, and to Lacrima, and to Toss Engraver, and to equip Requiem and turn this into the classic Necroquip Princess. And because we already have two Fiend monsters face up, we can go into Kaisar immediately, and then we will shuffle back the Lurie. Like I said, this is like the weakest part to open up, because under normal circumstance you would have to normal summon it, but we got to use it anyways. Then we will special summon this, and then we will overlay these two other level 6 monsters into, well, it was in here, but we will go ahead and summon Evolzar Lurie. I can't remember its name, but it's the Omni Negate rank 6. So we have two semi-summon negations, a targeting Omni Negate, much like Hot Red Dragon Archfiend, and then we have these two in the graveyard to dump Fiendsmith Trap to go ahead and send another card off. So that's kind of what I wanted to show off as a very, very primitive example, because that one was probably egregiously obvious to exactly this meta, but this is not the extent of what I want to show off when I say, I'm not just referring to this meta, I'm referring to any time there's a monster spell or trap in your hand that says, I want out of here. This engine will always be valid for that, which is why level 6 Trickies very specifically are like really beneficial, because it's like toss Malicious, toss a Plague Spreader, toss a whatever. Like, that's one of the benefits of why it being level 6 makes it much better than average extenders. Beatrice is no longer a thing, but back then that mattered way more. But that's kind of what I'm referring to when it comes to this card. And this one, as you can see, just blows it out of the water, because it's its own isolated play, even if you just discard nothing. because it alone could already make the Evolzar rank 6. But now that we got that out of the way, that's it going first. But I think I want to show off a way more hilarious combo going second. Now, for going second, obviously, you don't go second by just, oh, your opponent has monsters and they do nothing. No, obviously, you're going to have to play around the interactions they have and do things based on that. But we're going to cheat sheet and just say Dark Ruler no more. And our opponent controls, let's say, 3 monsters. We'll say they control 3 monsters. And we Dark Ruler them, basically shut off all their board. Now, we are going to start with Dark Magician Girl by discarding WoW Warrior, which will get us a Sarcophagus, which we will then go ahead and add Archfiend's Advent, which we will normal summon without tributing, and now it's time to get into this card's actual effect. When this card is normal or special summoned, you can target 1 monster your opponent controls, take control of it until the end phase, but that monster cannot attack unless you control a Shining Sarcophagus. So, we are going to take 1 monster away from our opponent, and that we will put right here. Now, in our scenario, we have Dark Rulered them, so none of their effects are going to matter, but there is a rank 6 that can use your opponent's monsters no matter what they are, and that is Dampier, Vampire, Sheridan, or Sheridan, whatever. So, you can also use... if you were to use a monster with a level that is owned by your opponent for an XE summon, you can also treat this as a level 6. So, unless it's like a Link or an XE, you can just use it right here. But this is where it gets very funny. If they have 3 leveled monsters on board, we can go ahead and detach a material. It has 2 because 1 is our opponent. Send off one of our opponent's monsters. But then, if a monster is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can attach a material, special summon it to your field defense. So we can attach the other material, and now we get our opponent's monster that we sent off. Then we can overlay a level 6 and that monster we sent off from our opponent to make another one, because this isn't a hard once per turn. Then we'll detach a material while it still has 1, send that off to the graveyard, and then do it again and get our opponent's monster yet again. So as you can see, I thought my opponent's deck was really cool, so I decided to just borrow it. But we are not done yet, because my opponent is very generous, and we can go into F-Zero and even Draco Future, and that will allow us to take another monster on a later turn. My opponent is just so generous. I can't believe it. They just love giving me their cards. That's a far more hilarious interaction. Probably would never really come up that often. This, I will say, is a pretty solid going second engine because of this interaction. This is just a special summon. It can bait out interactions. Well, again, you're playing this in a deck that wants some of its cards in the graveyard, so that's very handy. And I think that's all I have to show off with this deck. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. And I say deck as if this isn't just a rank 6 engine. But I can't believe we finally got an extender that is of this quality for such a very specific type of extender that's always missing from the card pool. Like I said, for many years, Tricky and Apprentice Illusion were randomly solid starters in very specific combo decks. But not only does this fill that void, but it does so extremely well to the point where you could not be shocked to find this in things considerably more real than those combo decks. But that's going to be it for me. Thank you all for watching, and remember, Master Dinner Flax will take your soul.